Hello, welcome to game day 3 of the World Para Ice Hockey World Championships Ostrava 2021. Into its final group game, and we start on game day 3 with Group B, as opposed to the first 2 days where we started with Group A games. And what a cracker it is to get us underway in Group B as well. It's top against second in the group. An RPC side that have scored 7 against Slovakia. They've scored 9 against Italy. They are yet to concede a single goal in this competition. There you can see 16 the right way. Not a single dent has been made on the goals against column. Norway, well, they've been involved in 2 absolute barnstormers. What can they come up with here against RPC? Penalty shootout victory over the Italians. Bacca hat-trick during that contest. And a 3-2 victory over Slovakia, despite a whopper from Joppa in that one. Goal from Liseth in the third period, fortuitous as it was enough to decide it. They have the least amount of penalty minutes of any side in this competition in either group. Andre Lysensturen was a delighted man after yesterday's victory. I'm sure those nails will grow back, but they were bitten off in nerves. Jono Bell alongside myself, Alan March, and it has to be said that, Jono, the 2 games we've had so far involving Norway have been crackers. I'm sure this one will be just as good, because finishing top of this group means you play bottom of Group A, and that is probably what you want.
Indeed, Alan. Hello, everyone. It's great to be back after a day's rest, and I'm sure all the athletes involved in these championships will be able to testify the same as well. It was pretty frenetic, wasn't it, those opening 2 days, particularly for Norway. I don't think we really wanted their game against Slovakia to end at the end of Sunday night, but they'll have needed the rest ahead of this pretty foreboding challenge against RPC. Ruslan Baturichin's side have been superb out of the blocks in their opening 2 games. Top scorers in the championships, best defence as well so far. And you look at some of the stats for their main players, not just goals, but plenty of assists around the ice as well, as we see Emmanuel Lunda get his first nod in the crease in these championships. Both he and Johan Grönli experiencing their first major international tournament. As for RPC, it's back to Andrei Kazatskin, who has had a pretty even amount of ice time so far. Him and Evgeny Plotnikov have certainly been sharing their time between the posts. Jakob Grumsen of Denmark is the man taking command of today's game. An exciting one ahead then, Alan. Norway against RPC. Auden Bacca, a hat-trick against Italy. The saviour in that one to rescue the 2 points. And that man there, Nikolai Terentev, has been prolific so far. 4 goals and 1 assist for him. Puck drop imminent.
So an even contest before you start, because both have picked up victories, but because of the way that Norway picked up their first victory, RPC lead the group. The victory here for Norway, nice and simple, means that they top the table. The victory here for RPC, the same result for them. Neither of them can drop out of the top two. We're comfortable in the knowledge that there's plenty of hockey still to be played at this tournament ahead of them. And you have to feel that Emmanuel Lund has rather drawn the short straw, coming in for his first bit of ice time to face what has been a formidable Team RPC so far in this contest. They themselves have only spent 8 minutes in the penalty box so far, so fairly disciplined, these two sides. Fair to say that RPC really haven't been given a challenge in the opening games. They knew what they were coming up against in Slovakia. The Italians know there is a little bit of rebuilding needed, and they just weren't able to cling on to the coattails of RPC in that game, even to the point where, when interviewed before the third period, they said a 0-0 in this period would be good. Well, it shows you that they know where they are at currently. Norwegians delighted so far with their performances, but this game starts the same way for RPC as all the others have. It's goal time for RPC. It's go time as they head towards the after group stages. And at the moment, dare I say, I don't think there's anybody here in Ostrava that particularly fancies going up against them. Shikov with the score here. Lovely interchange. Not sure that Terentev meant the initial pass, but Konstantin Shikov has indeed opened the scoring here for RPC. Took less than a minute and a half to do so as well. From the outside, back towards the blue line they go. Galkin there, we got Petrov in support. In terms of goal scoring, both these sides had a 23.33 average when shooting on goal. Norwegians have tucked away 7 from 30, whereas RPC was 52 shots on goal, 68 altogether, 52 saved. Of course, a tremendous amount have found their way into the back of the net, but despite their dominance in terms of goals scored, the percentage-wise means it's exactly the same. However, in this game, you feel, Jono, it will be for Norway taking whatever opportunities come their way. That is going to be the most important thing as we get our first penalty call of the game.
Certainly, yeah. And in the 2 games we've seen so far from Norway, Alan, they haven't really had to come from behind yet. The only time they had to was late on in the Italy game on day 1, where of course they had led that already by 2-0. But well, I think you may have cursed the Norwegians here, Alan, at the top of the show, saying no penalty minutes for them yet, because already in the opening 3 minutes we've got someone in the penalty box, and it's not great timing for them after just going behind. We see Shikov's goal once again, his first of these championships after already assisting 4 in the opening 2 games. He's now able to gobble one up for himself in front of goal, and RPC will want to get most of the hard work done by the end of the first period here and get a couple more goals as Shikov eyes up the goal once again and makes it a second on the power play. RPC ruthless so far here in Ostrava, and that day's rest on day 3 has just fired them up even further as they climb the Group B summit and look to take on some of the big boys later on in these championships. They lead 2-0.
frighteningly easy. Emmanuel Lunde, we talked about at the top of the program, might be rather unfortunate for him to have to come in against a free-scoring RPC. But Chikov doing the right thing. He allowed Lunde to make the decision for him. Lunde went down on his right side, only leaving a glove high up in the net. Well, if you're a good player in World Para Ice Hockey, once that volume of net is shown to you high up, you get the puck off the ice, you slam it in the net, and at the moment it is the Konstantin Chikov show. Just look how simple he made that look, Dono. Frightening.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right in what you say. Emmanuel Lund's priority would have been to make sure he was on his side to stop the low puck from going under the sledge and to get the pads in the way. But the pads may have been behind it. The stray glove unfortunately wasn't for him, and again he sprawled around the crease. I think he's got custody of it. You'd imagine he has. Otherwise, nervous times these for the Norwegians. And, well, just wondering if this is actually a goal here, Alan. Some confusion, but the way that the referee there picked the puck out of the net, it looks to me like it's the third. What on earth happened here? There it is.
Here, bottom corner, yeah. Bottom corner, Lissov has noticed that every single Norwegian, Rivera, Nordstoga, Lund, none of those three have got a clue where that puck is in the crease, and it's wonderful thinking. It's great play from Dmitry Lissov. The man with the silver from Sochi as part of the team. It's not Petrov, it's Lissov, the number 8, that came rushing in. And, well, as bizarre goals go in this tournament, I think that's the most we've had, or the most bizarre one we've had. Oh, nearly an opportunity for an early hat-trick from Chikov here. He is everywhere. Sokolov now. Norway have got to tighten up here. Otherwise, this may be more than the 9 that the Italians suffered. And at the moment, Emmanuel Lunde is perhaps wondering where he is, let alone what he's doing. Another chance. Behind the cage they go with Sokolov. Sun puts a little bit of pressure on, but still Sokolov has possession here. That's fantastic work. Terentev bangs it round the outside, but Lingroth was just about there to help. This is a chance to get it away finally, and rabbit and headlights spring to mind here, Jono.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the first times Norway, Ellen, have actually been able to dump the puck up the ice. And what that allows them to do is actually get some speed under their skates, because at the moment they just seem to be spinning around in circles statically inside their own third. They've not had a chance to really work the upper body and get into their stride in comparison to RPC, who are now in full flow. And that third goal for me, it just shows how this side almost get you under a spell. You don't know where the puck is. The captain for RPC then just pops up and gladly says thank you very much. And the Norwegians are wondering, are we still in the hotel room here? They've been caught very cold indeed in the opening 5 minutes of this game, and you want to start any game pretty tight and not to be behind early on. Well, if that was the trick for Norway, it's all gone wrong. They are 3-0 behind to a pretty formidable RPC side at the break.
Time to engage, perhaps, is the message from Lysent Stern, the Norwegian coach, and by that, to be even less broad, switch on, because at the moment they've switched off from the very start and they're 4 down. Oh, this is frightening. Dimitri Galkin breezes over the blue line. It is simplicity. Just wanders into the offensive territory. He's got time to switch it between the sticks. I think he had time to turn his notifications off his phone before even finishing that. He made that look so good, Jono, but actually it was just wide open spaces and in stepped Galkin.
Yeah, and already, Alan, we've seen some of RPC's providers turn scorers. Dimitri Galkin, the defenseman, certainly one of those. He's got the tournament high at the moment in terms of assists with 5. He's now registered his first goal of these championships, and you feel like there's a goal here for every single one of those men in white jerseys as this first period rattles on at quite a rate. And the Norwegians, I'd be interested in hearing from one of those at the intermission. Marek hopefully will be able to grab one of them and just find out, are RPC that good, or are Norway still a bit of a hangover from their day off? No doubt the day off was all about rest and recovery for all of these sides. I wonder if RPC have actually been off the ice in that time, because they look like they haven't stopped playing at all. And let's not forget as well, yes, we've had a couple of days of these championships, but last year or so has seen all of our teams not be able to prepare in the way they normally would. Pre-tournament schedules such as warm-up games and even just ice time in training has been at a premium, if not non-existent. But RPC, right from the off in these championships, have certainly been the team to beat in Group B, and it's statement after statement of intent for them as they look to sit alongside those in Group A. And it will be interesting which team in Group A will be able to stop them. That is the question that RPC are asking the rest of the world of para ice hockey. That's Kuznetsov feeds Terentev, who will go up against his opposite number Baka, the two main men for their respective outfits. Baka on top, but unable to sort of apply anyone for Norway and feed them in down the other way. It has been that sort of first period for them so far. A lot of time spinning around and searching for shadows in their own third of the ice. As again, these white jerseys swarm around the final third. It's going to be dumped in from range. That was a block from Baka, I believe, who was facing his own goal for a moment. Oyseth away. But we're only around halfway through the first period here, Alan. Norway must feel like the intermission buzzer is quite a way off.
Well, this is so alien from what they've been up against in the opening 2 games. Yeah, they've had moments where it's backs against the wall defending, but it's brief moments. The Italians came back at them when 2 down. The Slovakians never let them rest, but they had their own offensive moments, and as strange as it seems, it's a respite to go forwards as well. Not only does it allow you to change the lines, but it means you're not chasing shadows, and at the moment, that is all that's happening for those red jerseys. This is what I meant here, but this is a brief respite because it will come immediately back. It's not like they've managed to get the puck up the other end and fire a shot away. Give them a little bit of inspiration. Baka here got a hat-trick in the opening game. I don't think he's had a sniff. No, nobody's had a sniff in this game in a red shirt. 6 minutes remaining on the clock here in the first period. They were 3 down in less than 4 minutes. They're 4 down now. I said at the beginning of the programme they only had 4 penalty minutes leading up to this. Oh dear. Well, I'll come back to that conversation. This one flicks off the pads of Emmanuel Lunde. Lena Schroeder was desperately trying to get across to put a block on the shot. You see here, both sticks going, just spiking away through the ice, but couldn't get there. And Lunde, it just flicks off him, hits the roof of the net. Oh, the underside of the bar as well. And number 5 from a team that have got 7 and 9 so far. They are going upwards in the direction here, Jono. Norway will want to see the back of this game fairly swiftly. The sad thing for them is there's 2 full periods and around about 5 minutes left of this one.
Yeah, and it's Kamzin with the goal. Third game, should I say, where he scored. And it's 4 in total as Tarentev arcs in towards goal. Lovely change of direction. Good save from Lund, who needs a couple of those just to pick him up a wee bit. But I think that last RPC goal just shows they score all sorts of goals. A poacher's finish from Kamzin. It means at the next break, Norway nothing. RPC 5. We'll be back very shortly.
A pokud byste chtěli mít památku na tento světový šampionát, tak nezapomeňte, že tyto kuponové předměty merchandising můžete koupit před halou. Je tady třeba skvělý klišák, softový, trička, která si můžete koupit přímo před halou ve speciálním obchodě nebo na památku a na e-booku. Světový šampionát tady v Ostravě 2021. Pokračuje zápas, tedy teď vidíme RPC versus Norway.
It's just not getting any easier, is it? Drilled in. Absolutely drilled in here. It's Volkov to Tarentev. And it's 6-y hockey. 6-0. Nikolai Tarentev with the latest. They do have, Jono, an embarrassing amount of riches in terms of offensive power. I make that 9 or 10, different scorers so far in the opening 7 periods of this World Championships.
Yep, and Tarentev now with 5 goals, and it makes him the tournament's top goal scorer. Oh, Norway with a flash in the pan. And Kazatkin, who's had nothing to do all game, I think, was caught out there reading the morning newspaper, as it looks as though Nordstoga, the captain, jumps it from deep, surely only to give Norway some respite, and he has scored from the halfway line.
Oh, well, drop catch.
I wouldn't say Norway are back in this one, Alan, but certainly it's a moment of light relief for them.
Well, you wouldn't want that lad in the outfield of a baseball game, would you? Wow. Got to stay switched on, got to keep the concentration. I'm sure that's exactly what Ruslan Batirshin will be saying when it gets to the end of the period. And that, Jono, ironically, is the first goal that RPC have conceded in the entire championships. What a way to do it. What a weird way to do it.
Yeah, and I just wonder if that's going to be the main talking point in the locker room at the break, because RPC will want perfection, particularly from this group. And if they are setting statements to those in Group A, I'm sure they'll be watching that clip back very fondly indeed. Have a go at this RPC goal, and who knows what could happen. I'm sure Andrei Kazatkin will not let that happen again. But RPC back in more familiar territory now, and that's how you respond. Let's take the attention away from the goaltender, why don't we? And Mikhail Baichin taking no prisoners.
That is stunning. 20 years of age, Mikhail Miachin. My word. The only time Manuel Lund saw that was as he bounced past him on the way back out. My word. Well, you said it earlier, Jono. Who wants to face these? The games in Group A later will be very interesting indeed, because, well, quite frankly, you don't want to finish bottom. At the moment, that honour is heading towards the Czech Republic, the local side. Look at them go here. Good save from Lunda this time. At the moment, the local side are the ones that are going to have to come up against this, and getting in the face on the far side. But another opportunity arises. This time it's blocked and cleared away. Wow. What a start. How's your Tuesday? Because I'll tell you now, it's better than any of these guys out here in red. Chance, easy, far too easy. Lissov, he's spinning around, but he isn't spinning around as much as the minds of the Norwegians. They must be wondering what on earth is going on here. We are heading towards double figures. We've not seen anything like this so far. Yes, we've had a 7. Yes, we've had a 9. But we're talking about a side that in the B Pool World Championships were hitting 20s against sides because they outplayed them. Norway have beaten Slovakia. They've beaten Italy. The two sides that have been hit for 7 and 9 already. And they're just being brushed aside here. Look at the ease. Lissov just throws a little dummy. He's left spinning by Nordstoga. He'll take that hit all day long, Jono, because the end result is exactly what he wanted. And Dmitry Lissov extends RPC's lead. They are out of sight.
Yeah, and if Lissov's first goal in this game was him capitalising on a Norway mistake and putting on the loose change, well, that was far more about quality than fortune. And the only time you would see Norway conceding this many goals in 45 minutes, let alone in 15, is if they were playing two of the North American giants, Canada and United States of America. But even then, they usually show a little bit more fight resilience than this. It has been a bit of a whitewash, and I wonder how much of this thumping Norway were expecting beforehand. They knew they'd be in for a tough game, of course, because RPC had been faultless going into this, but they can't quite have expected it to go quite this badly. And it looks as though Norway, who, of course, let's not forget, have already secured their progress to the next part of this competition. They won't be finishing in the bottom two. They won't be being relegated to the B pool. But, of course, Alan, let's not forget that this week is all about an automatic qualification for the Winter Paralympic Games in Beijing. The top 5 go straight through, and the other 3 have to then battle it out later in the year against some of the B pool contenders, where, of course, we'll have China involved in that. And no one's going to be want to be in Beijing more than the Chinese are. So it's going to be an extremely difficult tournament for anyone that is there. And at the minute, Norway look as though they may have to go down that route. Of course, still a long way to go in these championships. But the yawning gap between these two sides does not make good reading, not just for Norway, may I add, but I'm sure the host nation, the Czech Republic, will be looking pretty ominously at the possible challenge they'll be facing in the quarter-finals. But it makes it all the more exciting for the neutral. The more new teams in town we have, the better. It keeps it competitive, and it certainly keeps everyone on their toes, knowing that they've got to keep progressing. And Norway, one of the giants of the game, Paralympic gold medalists in 1998, world champions in 2004, and they know that the latest generation across the world provides some brilliant competition, and RPC have been mesmeric in this first period. As they will come again, the captain, Lisov, who has led by example, led too prematurely there by example. But what an opening period this has been from RPC, and, well, you would be smiling, wouldn't you, Alan, if you were in a white jersey. This is the goal that was given to Kamzin. Kuznetsov rattled it through. Well, in fact, that was a replay of another opportunity, but Kuznetsov, on an earlier chance, was in a very similar position. He's got a superb right arm, dumped it towards goal, and it looked to me like Kamzin was just flirting around the crease, stuck out the right blade and diverted it past Lunda, which is why the goal was credited to him, no doubt. If there's time, Alan, in the intermission, it will find its way into the highlights reel, but we haven't got that long, have we, to put all those clips in together?
Yeah, whoever's got to put the highlights together has already got a tough job, haven't they? There's been some stunners, 9 goals in this first period. Fair play to Norway that one of those is theirs. Oh, and that was them defending as high up the ice as possible this time around. It was good work as well. Vatny just floats this one forward. I think you'd be tempted every time you were dishing it up the ice to perhaps make sure it's on target following what happened. But I'm sure, as Jono mentioned, Kasatkin will not want that to follow a second time. But here the hooter goes. And it is an opportunity for a bit of regrouping for the Norwegians, Jono.
Yeah, it will probably be a big exhale of relief that the period is over as far as Norway are concerned, but certainly some concern about the buffer between these two. 7 goals separate them. Norway getting the one back through a very uncharacteristic error from RPC's goaltender Andrei Kazatkin. That's the goal there from Knut Andre Nordstoga, the captain. That was after 6 RPC goals had already flown past Emmanuel Lunde, whose major international debut has been one to forget. The captain, Lisov, with 2. He made it 8-1, and that is where we stand going into the first intermission between Norway and RPC here in Ostrava. We'll be back with the second period very shortly.
You score in this first third. How do you feel after this third?
It's a tough game, so we take everything we can get. So I don't know. I mean, they are fast, they are strong. You have to keep it tight, and we know that they shoot a lot. So you have to take what we got. So yeah.
Do you have some tactics for the second third?
Well, I think it's gonna be. They want to score tight on the right in front of the goal, so we have to be very strong in front of the goal and not give them any rebounds. So yeah.
How do you feel in Ostrava?
It's good. It's a great place. Yeah.
Thank you.
chviličku přijdou i naše rozpleskávačky, které budou tancovat rytmu muziky, kterou nám pouštíme v průběhu celého tohoto zápasu a nejen tohoto, i s DJem Lumírem Moštosným, takže za chvilku se vám i ukáže, jak to sluší. Tady máme, já doufám, že se přidáme i vy a doufám, že budete platit ať už Norsku nebo týmu RPC.
So a difficult prospect became almost an impossible as the Norwegians let in 8 at the beginning of the contest. A first period that can't possibly have gone to plan. Well, it did for that man, Ruslan Batirchin. Would have hoped for a good start. And he got the best from his RPC squad. As we mentioned during the first period, 10 different scorers so far in this tournament. Nine goals, Jono, in the first period. Let's find out together what happens in the second.
Yep, and we heard from the captain, Andre Nordstoga, in the intermission, and I think he summed it up quite well when he said, we'll take everything we can get. That was certainly, for me, the attitude he took when he struck that puck from the red line and was able to get it past Andre Kazapkin, who himself must have been so blown away by his side's performance. He slightly forgot he was taking part in it himself. But Norway, they've got to keep the game a lot tighter. RPC, speed, a big part of their game, as is their strength as well, and their ability to get across the ice. Such a velocity. Norwegians left reeling. As RPC plot early. That's nice play from Galkin across, and then the effort from Kamzin. Just wide, Lisov onto the puck. Kamzin again, sniffing around for it, but you can just see the way they recycle. It's another phase of pressure. It's relentless from RPC as Norway left just scurrying after tails here. Lisov hunched over as he just keeps that puck close to his sledge. And eventually it is Emmanuel Lund who can lay his glove on the puck and just kill things for a moment. Norway, I suppose, with a much tighter start to this period than what they were able to execute in period 1. But I think it is that goals conceded column for RPC that is just as impressive as the goals scored. We knew that coming into this tournament they were going to score a lot of goals just based on their B pool record. But in the B pool they conceded the once, and you thought that would increase a wee bit against the likes of Slovakia, but particularly Norway and Italy. And just the one conceded so far, and no sign of that increasing at the start of the second. As Norway here are going to be down a player for holding. So let's have a look at this. Solberg, the accused defender, and you can see just wrapping the right arm around the left glove of the RPC player. Solberg in the box for 2 minutes. And it's starting to be reminiscent of the first period again, where we saw RPC get the power play goal, Alan.
To do is replicate the volume of goals. I'm sure that's the first port of call from Coach Andre. And now they find themselves disadvantaged by numbers. Not just in the goal scored column, that one whips by. Terentev it was with the opportunity. Lingorth hammers that eye up the ice, and Volkov just about recovers it. Was underneath him for a second. Hamra doing the pressing, which leaves just 3 red jerseys back as the team of RPC cross the line once more. That's neat, side netting this time. Miachin, who finished from an almost identical position in the first period, can only find the side of the cage this time around. It almost feels quite weird to have gone so long without a goal here. 12 minutes remaining in this second period. And this will be exactly what the Norwegians had set out to do in this second period, Jono. Hustle a little more, get in the faces a little more. Maybe not the penalty per se, but certainly just getting into those RPC players a little more and letting them know they're in this contest. They may not have 7 goals in them for a fight back. What they want to demonstrate is that that was just a little blip. This is more resolute indeed. They're back to full strength as well. That's great work. Away it goes from Lingroth once again, and this is much better, Jono. Much better.
It is better, but they've got to get the puck up the ice here, because as we've said already in these championships, the second period sees both sides needing to be in the offensive zone in order to make any changes from the bench. Well, at the moment, I don't think Norway have been able to get in the RPC third in order to make some of those line changes after what will have been a grueling power play from RPC there. So Nordstoga just looking to send it long, and the more they dump it, the more they'll be able to make those changes. That will be crucial, because no doubt physically and mentally it will have been a tiresome period for Norway. But yes, indeed, yet to concede in this period. Lina Schroeder, a medicine student actually in Oslo, and the only female athlete taking part in what is a mixed event here in these World Championships. We've seen her on the world stage for the last couple of major tournaments. Andreas Sund as well had quite a bit of action in the opening game or two in the Norway defence, but I hasten to say not quite as much action as what the defensemen of Norway have encountered so far on this Tuesday morning in the Czech Republic. In the Ostrava arena, where it's good to see that the crowds have come back after the break, and looking forward to no doubt the host nation back in action a little later on, after a really impressive performance against the United States of America. Let's not forget, at the weekend, one of the best defensive displays I think we've seen so far in these championships. Next up, they're against Canada. Here's Galkin for RPC, who no doubt will want to mix it in amongst the likes of Canada and the United States in the latter stages of this tournament. Lisov with a rare error there. Slightly lost his balance. Got it back now, though, looking much more composed. Nonchalant flick of the right blade. Gets it back. Oh, he's going to do it himself. Has that gone through? Lund doesn't know where it is. The last time that happened, Lisov scored. It's still alive. Dumped in, and it's just ricocheted off the pipe. It was a rolling puck. Goodness me, Alan. Emmanuel Lund must not know where he's at the moment. And at times, he must wish he had the neck of an owl, so he could quite see the full spectrum of the net. RPC peppering the Norway goal again, but they're yet to score in this second period. It's still 8-1 to RPC as we go to a break.
Away. Start to those small victories, because it is indeed no damage done in the opening 6 minutes of the second period here inside the Ostrava arena. When you conceded 8 in the opening period, every minute that passes that you don't concede another should just start to make you feel a little better about yourself. It's Terentev here on your screen. Got one in the opening game, got a couple, in fact got a hat-trick against the Italians. And he's got one here as well. Still trying to sort out whether it is Kamzin or Kuznetsov that has a singular goal for goal number 5. We'll try and sort that out as the day goes on. That's flicked away, but only back into the path of Terentev. And out of the blue line is just what they needed at that moment. 8 minutes remaining here in period 2 in Ostrava. In this Group B contest, it was first versus second, but you wouldn't know that from the scoreline. Sunt tracked his man very well indeed, and again they get it past the blue line and through the neutral zone. Offers a little respite. It's Werner's chasing down the 40-year-old. Good hit again to get rid of the puck, and this is much more determined from the Norwegians here, Jono.
Yeah, they've started to form a bit of a congestion zone, which is important to do against RPC. What you can't be allowing them to do is skate into ice at speed, because they generate so much speed in such a short space of time. And we've seen that countless times in this game so far. If Norway have to start engaging themselves in a chase with RPC, they know they're going to lose out. As you can see, the struggles there for Bacca, having to accelerate from a sitting start and just couldn't get going. Meanwhile, the RPC engines in full throttle. Hamrat, one of the cool heads in that defence for Norway. It's trying to get it out well, and that was almost a good feed for, looked like Solberg up there. Indeed it was, still battling away with Kamzin. That's a good hit, although the referee will see that as teeing, I think. Hamra, who I said, a cool head just a moment ago, saw a loose puck that he thought he could win and went for a hit that proved to be illegal, as the Danish referee requires a couple of words was Solberg. I wonder if he's saying, I have sympathy with you guys here, but no more of that, please. As you can see, Hamret coming in from the side, and it's that action clearly warrants the teeing call. And it's another 2 minutes of pain ahead for Norway as they look to try and consolidate what has so far been a decent shutout in this period. Kuznetsov so strong on that right blade, as we've seen countless times in this tournament so far. This is swift action from RPC. Offside called as Kuznetsov burst over the blue line. And you can just see how well choreographed these moves are, Alan. It goes to the centre man. This time it was Lisov. Just got the puck slightly stuck under his sledge as the options either side of him zoomed over the blue line, and that was a fraction of a moment too quick. And the linesman gave the decision. And on the Norway bench, it's all about keeping your heads, keeping this tight, keeping it as it is, because at the moment you have to say it's a marked improvement from Norway.
Yeah, it's testament to how you have to change your game plan. The fact that Norway have conceded more penalty minutes in this game so far, after a period and a third, or 2/3, than they had in the entire 2 games before it. So that shows you what differences they've had to make in terms of style of play. And yeah, all right, it means that you're penalised, but just maybe they haven't had to play like this before. Italians and Slovakians, it was more an open affair. Here it's desperation at times. You saw it there from Solberg, and it's a great example of experience mixed with desire. Solberg desperately wanting to get to that puck and stop it from flying towards Emmanuel Lund. Maybe when they look back at this, that's something that they perhaps weren't switched on to in the first period just enough. There maybe wasn't the defensive hardness that they needed. They really are shutting up shop in front of the house at the moment, though. We're coming up to 4 minutes remaining, and it goes over the blue line. This is real good work from the Norwegians, although Lindgroth just got took out by one of his own players for a second there, and that sort of put him off his stride a little. This is good. Round the outside from Terente, but again, Lund is equal to it. Back towards the blue line it comes. Spinning is Volkov, 36-year-old. Another good hit. This time from Solberg, and again it's all the way up the other end here, Jono, and this is really impressive from the Norwegians to have come into the end of the first period 8-1 down. And you can see the captain shouting, come on. This is impressive to turn this around in such a style. If they could nick a goal as well, we really would be interested.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you say shut up shop, because Norway were very much open for business in that first period, but they are no longer. That said, though, you're going to have another couple of minutes, a player down, but as you can see, period 2 so far scoreless for RPC. They will want that to change. Will they? We'll find out after this break.
Schroeder trying to assist here. Around the back it goes with Balikin. This time Lunde does indeed know where it is, and he just takes a gentle pat on the pads from Aldon Bakker. Must be frustrating, John, for players like Bakker. In some games you're a free spirit, if you like. You're able to get forward over the offensive blue line, get shots away, maybe look for registering your name on the score sheet, but in this one it's 99.9% defensive work, and yet he's got a hat-trick in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at times as well, in moments like these, whenever it is a bit of a scrum in the crease, particularly from the goal we saw in the first period, you just think, is this going to end in another fortuitous RPC goal? It's almost like there's a magnet in that puck at times. It just attracts it towards the goal as Norway use that pause in play as an opportunity to shift through the lines once again. Norwegian coach not being able to stand still at all on the bench, and you can understand why. These are apprehensive moments as they look like they're going to get a second period shutout, which would be very impressive indeed. Lysov trying to change that though. The two captains locking horns there, him and Nordstoga. Lysov again. Now Kuznetsov very much likes it on that right side, switches it across to Petrov, but the interception was there. That's a good one. That's exactly what we're talking about. Get that dump long and get one or two skaters up the ice to maybe make some changes. It's going to come back again though from deep, and space to run into. This is where it gets dangerous. Good spread from Lund. That was really mobile goaltending there. Out of the crease. Still in a bit of a tangle with his captain. And RPC trying to maximise on that, perhaps. But another solid penalty kill from Norway. And this is a real marathon for them. But it's a marathon that they're managing to keep a pace with, unlike the first period. They're back to full strength as Emil Vatna comes back on the ice. A sign of the youngsters that the Norwegians have got. He wasn't even born when Norway won its only Paralympic gold medal back in '98. It's very much a case as the generations go on that they'll hear in folklore about the successes of the Norwegian sides, but in order to ever tangibly have it for themselves, they're going to have to try and do it for themselves now. But we see with the likes of RPC and of course the usual big two in the North American outfits that it's a long road back to those former glory days. The focus now is on consolidating and maintaining a pool status, which they have managed. They did that in their first two games. The next stop is whether they can automatically qualify for the next Winter Paralympic Games. Here's Terentev again. Momentum from him, and look at the change in direction as well there. Brilliant turn of pace from RPC. You cannot underestimate that. This is a sport that, of course, it's for para-athletes, but if you are able-bodied, you can get in a sledge and have a go yourself. But Alan, I don't know about you, I wouldn't really fancy it. I wouldn't really fancy either being Emmanuel Lunde in the first period, but in the second, he's had a great 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you take the first two games of this tournament, you take this first period, it's almost dreams versus reality. The dreams are 2 games unbeaten. The reality is that teams like RPC can ship 8 goals past you, and that is indeed what has happened. But that second period demonstrates what Norway have in abundance, and that's heart, because they have put everything out there in that second period. You notice straight away, the moment the buzzer went, Manuel Lunde, helmet off, and he had to wipe the sweat from his face. That's how hard he's worked, and he's almost static, remember, throughout the course of that period. He's only moving side to side and briefly front and back. The rest of those guys and girls out there have been motoring. Nothing changed from the end of the first to the end of the second. No goals were scored. It's still 8-1 for RPC. We'll be back for the third period.
Improve in your game in the second third?
In general, I think everyone is more focused on getting their guy in their own zone, so it's 1 against 1 all the time. I think we're better at winning duels and playing more physical, I think, so it's good.
You are only one woman in this tournament. How do you feel in this role?
I'm so used to it, so for me it's no big deal. I'm used to playing with the guys at home as well, so for me it's just normal.
Para hockey isn't your main job. What is your job?
I'm a doctor. I work as a doctor in Norway.
How do you like Ostrava?
I really like it. We've been there before in 2019, and it was really great. A great atmosphere here, and even now with COVID restrictions, we have people watching, so it's really good.
Thank you for this interview.
připomínáme, že dnes odpoledne se hrají zajímavé zápasy. Kanada, Česko, Itálie, Slovensko a Spojené státy Jižní Korea. Ten první zápas odpoledne začíná ve 14:15. Česká republika bude hrát s vicemistry světa Paralympic. Tady Ostrava, Ostrava aréně. No ale pojďme zpátky k tomu dnešnímu zápasu. Teď vítáme tým Norska, tým domácí, tým Norway. A velký aplaus také pro tým RPC. Please make some noise for RPC. A samozřejmě tady v hale nejlepší publikum v České republice. Všichni to nás ví, tak ukažte se Ostrava Areno, jste tady! Paráda! A zase hezké respirátory, roušky.
So what happens next? Well, I'll tell you what happens next is don't undo all of the hard work you did in the second period. I'm sure that is what Andre Lisenstroen has expressed to his Norwegian team. Kasatkin on the sidelines. 53-year-old takes a breather. Whilst those in the stands get ready to see a third period. No goals in the second. Not for the want of trying from RPC. Just how much energy did that take out of the Norwegians? Ruslan Batirsin, coach for Team RPC, will want very much more of what he witnessed in period 1 here in period 3. Imagine, Jono, it will be Team RPC that pushes from the front as per these two periods, and immediately they are on the attack. But you would expect Norway to want to finish this game under 10 here. They've performed remarkably in the second period. They need this third period to be something similar.
Yeah, and we heard from Lena Schroeder in the intermission there saying that this time around in the second period, the Norwegians were able to block their opponent. It was one-on-one most of the time, and they were winning those individual battles and blocking all lanes to goal. And it was a big period for Emmanuel Lund, who in the Norwegian net got his first major international period shutout. And it's the first time that RPC have failed to score in a period so far in these championships. So not something that they will look back fondly on. Changing goaltender, as you mentioned, Alan, for the third period. What would be interesting is who will be starting in that quarter-final between the sticks, because surely that is when RPC will be looking to play with their first choice. So far, it's been a pretty fair share between the two goaltenders. But Kazatkin left red-faced in the first period by that Nordstoger dump from deep that went past him. Plotnikov will hope that he's got an opportunity to show what he can do, and that maybe here, as Norway come forward, they'll use it as an opportunity to make the changes and won't go for the forecheck. So RPC with an opportunity to plot from the back as Terentev, always exciting when he gets the poke, supplying this time, and the angle was perfect. And it's Zhikov with the hat-trick for RPC. We said before the game he already had 4 assists, and now he's not far away from totaling that with a number of goals as well. We questioned whether RPC would get a goal in the third period. Well, they've answered that pretty quickly, Alan.
Yeah, it hasn't taken them long at all. They may have had an off period. They are very much switched on early doors this time around. Konstantin Chikov, 37-year-old, to all the threes here because it's 3 goals for him as well. Oh, and it's almost immediately a second. That's brilliant work from Terentev, I believe. Sokolov helping him out. He whips that around the boards for Chikov to go chasing, and the Norwegians have got to stay firm here. He said that realistically after that shutout in the second period, keeping it under 10 would now be the achievement, because that would mean these final 2 periods were hugely, hugely different to the opening one. But that man there, Emmanuel Lunde, done so well in the second period along with his teammates. But there, Terente just pushed it too far in front of his right stick. Berkin at the face-off was Hamre losing out, but Hamre will try and poke that away. Doesn't get near it. This is Popov. Oh, round the back. And there is the second. Well, Rechkov, who got one against Italy, has his second of the tournament here. And for everything that was good in the second period, Jono, it isn't going the right way this time around in the third.
This, Alan, this is freestyle hockey. What on earth is he doing there? That is an incredible goal. He serves it up himself and delivers it into the back of the... Look at it, he scoops it up on the right blade and just arcs it back towards goal. And the Norwegians are looking at him and saying, are you for real here? Vladimir Rechkov.
Revolutionary.
Wow.
Oh, dear.
Wow, wow, wow. That is for the highlights reel. We said it'd be competitive to get your way in there. And maybe it's...
Are they looking at this? Do you know
Yeah,
what? I was just
wonder.
thinking to myself, are they going to look at this? You get the sense that people are scrambling for the rule books here, Jono, behind the scenes. It's brilliant. It's as you say, it's imaginative. It's not in anybody else's playbook. I mean, you know, if Farmer or Bridges did this, we'd be going absolutely crazy. But right now, I think the referee wants to take a look at this, and I'm not surprised if I have to say that referee Grumpson wants to review this. Maybe in hindsight, it's just... Oh, it's given it. Okay, fair play. I'm going to stop what I was going to say. He's happy with it. I think I'm going to leave this subject here. Just right there.
It's all in one action, isn't it, Alan? I think the referee there, maybe he just wants to look at it again. I don't blame him, because I wouldn't mind watching that 3 or 4 more times.
Instead of waiting for the highlights. Why not? He's got that power as the referee. Oh, they're coming again here. Oh, just wide. Just wide from Popov. And for everything that Norway did right in the second period, RPC have found another gear here. That last goal was another level. Brilliant. 21-year-old Vladimir Rechkov. And he's at it again. Oh, my word. Well, he's one of the youngest members of the team. He's not quite the youngest. There are 2 20-year-olds in this roster. But Rechkov has just turned the third period on its head. That's almost an impossible angle. The first one's brilliant. This is sublime. I'm sure the next will be ridiculous.
There was no other angle for him to go for there. That is the only avenue to goal, that top corner. And Lund now Well, you have to feel sorry for him. There is nothing he can do about an awful lot of these RPC goals. They are ones from the top draw, and there is no reply to them at all. You just have to admire this. Lysov now. That was audacious. Yeah, Alan, it's you have to sit back and just enjoy this. The Norwegians, unfortunately, can't afford to do that. Otherwise, this will get a very ugly scoreline. As the effort now from Galkin. And hopefully the work in the second period, Alan, won't have been undone here from Norway, because they just can't give answers to this.
No, you're sort of hoping that running through their brains is not the thought process of what was the point of that second period? What was the point of trying so hard to then concede 3? I mean, 2 of them are absolutely stunning. You have to say, as I mentioned earlier, if they were scored, oh, that was another. Well, we'll need to see the replay of this one. Lysov fires it in. We'll take a look at this, Jono, because I'm not sure just how that ends up where it does. We're familiar with the outcome. It's the build-up we need to see once more. Well, the cameras are focusing on Petrov. Let's take a look here as the shot comes in. Oh, it's another flick. This time it's Petrov. We saw Kamzin do it in the first period. This is nonchalant. He just knows if he leaves his stick there, Lunda's got absolutely no chance. It's a hat-trick for Lysov. Oh, it's Petrov, should I say, sorry. It's a goal for Petrov, but it's just nonchalant, Jono.
Yeah, it's one of them goals, you have to say, where Norway will be thinking, if we were in that position and that sort of play occurred for us, it probably wouldn't have the same outcome. There is a level of fortune about it, but it is class, this, from RPC. I'm just beginning to think, where do they stop? You're thinking, well, maybe when they play Norway, that'll be the challenge. The next challenge most likely will be the Czech Republic. Well, after this performance, I think the Czechs are going to struggle. And then, do they then fancy themselves against the Republic of Korea? This is seriously fascinating stuff from RPC. How high can this team go? It's a rhetorical question for now, Alan, but we'll have an answer in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, well, we will. At the moment, you know, the song goes, RPC easy as 1, 2, 3, and that's exactly what they're doing. You're right. I think the final 2 days of this A-Pool World Para Ice Hockey World Championships is going to be fascinating. I think it might be a case of everything you've known for the last 2 or 3 major tournaments. Rip it up and start again, because that man there has brought a team to contest right at the very top. One thing's for sure, Jono, is the next time the A-Pool World Championships come around, Team RPC will not be in the B pool, the B group, should I say? Oh dear. Well, off the underarm of Emmanuel Lunde. This one is Terentev. It's the second of the contest for him. And it's a runaway here. Number 22 just has time to stop almost. That is brilliant. Look at that. Again, just waits for the goalie to commit himself. Yes, a piece of fortune to come off the elbow. But you make your own fortune, and Terentev hits the target. After that, anything is possible. 1-13. The 13 in this instance, Jono, is unlucky for Norway.
Indeed. And Terentev's ilk make up probably one of the most exciting type of para ice hockey players you can get. The change of speed is frightening, but the way he can just slam the brakes on and then coolly assess the situation and produce such a composed finish, it's thrilling to watch and a nightmare to try and defend against. And it's something we said on day 2 of these championships, where the double leg amputees, of course, are going to fly across the ice much quicker because they have less weight to carry. But that also means if you are going to be so quick, you need a lot of upper body strength, and that is exactly what Terentev has. He just flies across this ice and then is able to slam the brakes off and fire home. It's almost a competition between RPCs to who can get the most impressive goal, and goodness knows how that one didn't go. I've got to give Lunde some credit. He's a big frame. He makes the most of it. We've got a Norwegian down here, and the referee is going to halt play, is he? Not quite yet. It is near the Norwegian bench, so that will help get some assistance on pretty quickly, but it is Vatner who is down. And we've seen a few bumps like this, and thankfully players so far have been able to continue. What doesn't help at the minute is he's got no sticks, so he can't keep his balance, but thankfully he's able to steady himself now with the help of the officials, and hopefully he will be okay. No doubt Norway reeling here. They've conceded 5 in this final period, and they are 13-1 behind going into the next break.
A dámy a pánové, my tady Romana Henninga máme přímo u ledové bloky. Romane, ahoj! Moc zdravíme legenda českého karaoke Roman Henning. Roman fandí samozřejmě poctivě, sleduje karaoke, že v Ostravě je světový karaoke a my jsme rádi, že Romana můžeme takto přivítat. Takže ještě jednou prosíme velký potlesk, Roman Henning!
You could almost lip read that conversation, whether you speak Norwegian or not. Are you okay? Emil Vatney. Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Tough cookies. They'll get on with it. Of course, we all want the best possible medical attention for anyone that takes a hit or a bump. As we mentioned yesterday, there's been some very high-profile cases, not just head injuries, of course, but in sports right across the world, able body and para. And it is now more than ever imperative that we offer the athletes the best possible experience, not just fun, but health-wise as well. This is not healthy at all in terms of a scoreline. Petrov, well, I reckon that guy has had more difficulty in just popping out to get the local paper at times, because here, that is one easy road. He's just come in, picks up the drop pass and slams it home. Jono, they must practice that 20 times a day in training, and it's just training ground stuff. Lisov, beautiful. Petrov, fantastic. And it is goals, goals, goals.
Yeah, I was just about to say the exact same thing, Alan. That looked like a set play that they've done over and over again in their sleep. You've got the 3 forwards coming forward, the captain down the middle, he drifts to the right, Petrov comes inside, receives the pass and says thank you very much, and it's all done in a matter of seconds. And Norway just can't get close to it. I think what we have to remember in this game is this is much more an indictment on the RPC's quality than it is on Norway
Absolutely.
not being good enough. And
Absolutely.
Norway, they've earned the right to be at the next April Championships. We know that now, but RPC, they're just not resting on that themselves. And as we keep saying, how far are they going to go? And, well, no one wants to face them, whether you're Canada, USA, Korea. But they're going to have to at some stage, and that's what makes it so exciting. We've said in recent championships, what we want is the dark horse to come in and rattle the top 2 or 3. And RPC are the next in line to try and do that, and they've got another one. Well, where's the scoring going to stop? And when is the clock going to stop, Alan? That's the question from Norway. Miachin with another.
Really broken, you know. Miachin, talk about an impressive young man. So let's get this right. He can do it from a tight angle. He can do it whilst balancing the puck on his stick. Or he can do it from distance. Answers on social media, if you like. What can't he do? What a way to bag 3. It's stunning. I'm almost, it wasn't my job. I'd say I was lost for words, which is a rubbish statement, so I won't say it. But that is phenomenal stuff, Jono. That's the sort of thing where us as commentators, we sit here and think, what's he going to do next? What is he going to do next?
Yeah, it is almost some sort of competition between the RPC players now. Who can score the most illustrious goal? Oh, there's another one. Too quick for the cameras to catch it. And in goes yet another one for RPC. Rychkov, you wouldn't know he'd scored unless the cameras were on him. Such is the diffident reaction. I mean, that is not easy. You know, there's a gap there, but it's not much of a gap. And he's seen it before the puck's come to him, and he's just guided it. It's ruthless stuff from RPC, and they may well here, Alan, equal their total from the first period, or even still better it.
Fascinating. These players, as we mentioned, whether it's balancing on a stick, whether it's drilling from distance, this cop comes in, of course it's he that's got the hat-trick. And I'll tell you now, they're watching on. They'll be watching on, whether it's from the changing rooms because they're in the next game, or whether it's from their hotel because they've got games this evening. Hello to all the players from all the other teams, the coaching staff, the technical staff that's around. Hello to every one of you. You're all watching, we know that. I'll be interested to know what people are thinking, because this tournament is wide open at the moment. Yep, there'll be an abundance of confidence back in those hotels. There'll be an abundance of confidence from teams that know they are going to be in the mix for taking this title. But they also have to know mentally that there is another team on the scene. Team RPC have come here not just to win Group B, not just to get inside that top 5. It's evident that with every game they play, they've got some confidence inside those white jerseys. Another one flashes by. What the other teams in the hotel will also know, Jono, is though they've got much bigger tests to come. They're going to get smashed around the ice by the Canadians, by the Americans. The Koreans have got their own way of getting in your face. And then let's not discount how much energy the Czech Republic get from this home crowd. And they've caused a few scares in the last couple of World Championships. This might be a 16-1 victory. It might be another statement. But show me your statement at the end of this tournament in where you finish. Comes off the shoulder, it's poked in. It's Petrov. And for everything that was done right in that second period, they've got another 8 in the third. That's quick thinking, Jono. He's seen the rebound. He's got himself in the right position, and he just wants it that little bit more.
Yeah, and that's just stamina for me now, Alan. Who gets to that loose puck first? Normally there would be a red jersey in that crease ready to cover for Lund in case the net was vacant, but this game, no surprise at all, has sapped all the energy that Norway may have been conserving in the last 24 hours on that day break, and they've got to respond quickly when it comes to the next game tomorrow, when we of course move on to the quarter-final stage. It'll be tomorrow afternoon, going into the evening, that they'll be next on the ice. And this game just has to be quickly forgotten about. It's playing smart now in the last 4 minutes. Do not give away any penalties that mean you're left short-changed. Petrov getting that latest goal. He's the third RPC player to get a hat-trick in this game, and he is top of the goal-scoring standings on 7. And from a team perspective, we're going about Canada and USA and how that changes their dynamics with RPC now on board. Well, certainly on the individual front, the likes of Declan Farmer and Tyler McGregor, Brodie Roybal, we're thinking, right, it's going to be quite a challenge, is it then, to be top of the standings at the end of this one from a personal front. Declan Farmer was top scorer in terms of points and assists with 14 in total last time around. Well, Tarentev, the latest, he's also now bagged a hat-trick, Alan. And I don't think there are enough pucks to go around at the end of this one for each of those who have managed to get a 3-goal haul.
Yeah. Will they get this much time and space? Will there be that much carnage in front of them when they play those teams from Group A? That remains to be seen. Norway will be turning their attentions to the 5th and 6th place game. Maybe that is the stall that's set out. What they've got to do is get rid of all memories of this game immediately. As soon as they leave the ice, that one whistles by. Rechkov. Possession. He's trying to weave some magic. This outside, it's blasted towards the crease. And Galkin, it's picked up by Popov, and nearly some respite. Kuznetsov keeps it in on the far side. Popov again. This is Beckett working hard, trying to deny the spaces, but look at the ease of movement there from Galkin. And that one is held underneath the sled. Well, Emmanuel Lundit won't forget this day in a hurry. He'll try, but the record books won't help him. At the moment, it's 18-1 in favour of Team RPC. We'll be back after this break. You'll note hot stuff playing in the background, maybe, of the Ostrava arena. Just about sums it up, doesn't it, Jono?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of calling it. Just looking at the stats here in terms of RPC. In the People World Championships of November 2019, they did break at the 20 scoreline on 2 occasions against Poland and Great Britain. In terms of the APOL Championships, the last victory of this margin we saw was back in 2017 when Canada struck 17 times against Sweden to no reply in Gangneung in South Korea. This is a defeat, though, that I can't imagine Norway have ever experienced. As Manuel Lund takes a word from the referee. I'm not sure what that would have been about. I'm not sure Anne Bakker was too interested what he found out there either. It's last couple of minutes of the game. Discipline much better from Norway. Keep 5 on the ice. Do it for the team. Do not leave the rest of your teammates needing to cover for you any longer than they need to here against this RPC side as we go into the final minute. And for these two, for both of them, despite the travails for Norway today and the exploits of RPC, all it means in terms of the group standings is who they will play in the quarterfinals. After today, it's straight to the knockouts. And no matter how many goals RPC have scored, it will matter little if they are not able to use it against either the Czech Republic or Republic of Korea in the next stage. As it stands, you would expect RPC to next be up against the home nation and Norway to take on the Republic of Korea. So we see the Plotnikov, the goaltender for RPC, getting, I think, his first touch on the puck there. There's the charge from the back, goes all the way to the front. Oh, what a way that would have been to end it. I think every player on the ice there got a touch on it for RPC, but Shikov, who's already got a hat-trick, was unable to get a 4th for him. But the work was done, the damage was done in the opening 15 minutes of this one. And Shikov, one of 4 RPC players to get a hat-trick at the end of this one. The relief for Norway is that it is over. And they're all still there as a team to move on to the quarterfinals. Nothing for Plotnikov to do. A lot for Emmanuel Lund at the other end for Norway to do. And at the end of this one, RPC straight to the blue line, ready for the dignitaries and the anthems. After an 18-1 success, we might just about have room for the period 1 goals here, where Norway did get their only one. Knut Andre Nordstoga with a goal out of the blue that Andre Kazatkin and the RPC goal will not have been happy with. But look at that. Shikov with 3, Rychkov with 3, Petrov 3, Terentev 3. Goal of the game for me, Alan. I think that should be what we're debating at the end of this one rather than player of the game, because that's hard enough in itself. But Rychkov's scoop, where he just put it on his plate and flicked it past Lund, that gets my vote, but there are plenty to choose from.
In terms of player of the game for either side here, I think it's just a case of putting all the names in a hat and pulling one out, because you know, there wasn't a single Norwegian on the ice that wasn't trying. That was obvious. And where has it gone in the end? Alexander Lindgroth is the decision. As I say, you couldn't possibly sit there and say that this particular Norwegian player wasn't deserved because he didn't do this, that or the other, or she didn't do this, that, the other, because every one of them went out there and worked their butt off. But, well, it's the same. On the opposite side, it's gone to Shikov. Konstantin Shikov, Team RPC, makes his way to collect his award from the mascot Samson. And we'll hear the anthem that represents Team RPC in a matter of moments. But there you go. It has been a big, powerful performance from RPC, and they run out clear victors 18-1.
Gratulujeme vítězům Respect Supporters for Women Team RPC.
Well, we hadn't seen a scoreline like that until the first game of match day 3. The officials didn't particularly have anything too troubling to oversee. Far more penalty minutes for the Norwegians in this game than they'd had in the entire tournament so far. Spot of confusion out on the ice. I think the announcer was perhaps making more announcements than the two sides were expecting. Certainly caught us off guard as well. But we had the anthem that represents Team RPC, and they blew their opposition away here from the very start. The second period, you have to look for a description of that. Would it be that Norway stepped up a gear? Is it that RPC decided to take the foot off the gas a little? Mixture of both, bit of neither, who knows? But nothing changed in terms of scoreline in that second period. But my Jono, the third, was just something different. And then it was party time. Wasn't just hard grafted goals, it was special goals as well.
Yeah, some virtuoso performances out there from RPC today. And as I sort of alluded to in the third period, Alan, that'll matter little if they're unable to carry this into their next game tomorrow. They will be in the quarterfinals. They will be playing whoever finishes bottom of Group A. At the moment, that's the Czech Republic. It's likely to stay as the Czech Republic. And any locals that were here today as a neutral to maybe scout the Czechs' next opposition, maybe going back and saying, hey, we could have a bit of a problem here. So that's the end of Group B for RPC and Norway. They will stay where they are. The game between Italy and Slovakia will not change the standings between 5th and 6th. So RPC will most likely take on the Czech Republic, and Norway the Republic of Korea, if they fail to win their game later on against the United States. That is a game you can catch here live with us. Myself, Jonathan Bell and Alan March will be back later on. But at the end of this one, it's Norway 1, RPC 18. What a statement that is. We've got 3 more games coming your way today, and we'll see you later on. Goodbye for now.